Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jason from Straight Edge Knives. Hey, I got another video for you today. This is kind of a little bit of an unboxing and an initial use video, if you will. And we're going to get to this. There is going to be actually two parts to this video. This is going to be part one, obviously, and then I'm going to do a little bit more in-depth cutting review with this, but I want to get into this. I want to show you guys what I got going on here, and today we're going over a case knife. And guys, this is the Chris Taylor CT3. In Hunter Orange, if you will. Very cool blade. I saw this at SHOT Show. I really love the blade shape, and I was like, you know what, man, I gotta get one of these. I gotta test it out. I gotta see what it's about. So here's the packaging. Obviously, case box. Right away, when you open up, you have a nice leather sheath. I'll kind of go over this a little bit here in a second, but I know everybody's excited. Want to see the blade, right? So typically, the blade, it came. I already opened this because I did some stuff with it, but essentially, it comes in a plastic bag with this kind of protective sheath over it. So just so you don't, cut yourself. So here's a little plastic bag. There's a little bit of literature stuff in here. But other than that, not much else. So go ahead and set that off to the side. And please forgive my voice, everybody. I got a little bit of a head cold going on. I don't know why. I just got one. And it's whatever. Anyway, so let's slide this off. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I mean, this thing, I just really love the blade shape. And at first, I was on the orange handles. I was like, because I'm not typically, I don't go out and hunt. Orange handles, I understand this is a hunting skinning knife, if you will. So I get why there's orange handles. And at first, I was a little like, I could maybe do with a different color handle. But actually, now that I've had it and held it and messed around with it a little bit, I dig it. I dig the orange now. It grew on me, I guess, if you will. And I do see the definite benefit of having those orange handles in case you're out in the woods and you drop this thing, you're going to be able to find it easily. It does come with this big, generous belt loop leather sheath. I like leather sheaths a lot. I will say the one thing I don't like about this sheath, though, is the retention snap. It functions just fine. It comes on there. It's going to keep the knife in there. But these straps that go over like this, they've just always bugged me. More often than not, I wind up accidentally cutting them. It's just one of those things. I know you got to be careful. So when you pop your snap, you got to make sure you kind of keep the flap out of the way, and then you can kind of pull it out. And it's just one of those things. You got to be careful. And it'll be fine. But as these break in, they start dangling more floppy over, and then if you're out hunting and you really got to look, and if you're not looking, you go to put your knife in and this is flipped over, you're going to wind up cutting it. It is what it is. I think everybody who has a leather sheath with these type of things has experienced that at some point in time. Is it a complete deal breaker? No. I just wish it was maybe a little bit different, and I wish we would kind of get away from these a little bit. That's just my opinion. But overall, the sheath is nice quality. It's well made. It's solid. It's going to hold up just fine. I think, as comes in there, I mean, you got with the stamps on, you got excellent retention. It ain't coming out. Pop it off. Let's see. Even with it popped off, you got pretty good retention. As you're taking the knife in and out, it might loosen up a little bit. But right now, even with the snap off, pretty good retention. So depending on you, you could just cut it off if you want. That's the sheath. But guys, this is 1095 high carbon steel. Again, orange G10 textured liner handles. These handles got some grip to them, but it's not an overly aggressive grip. And what I actually did is I made a tri-stick. I did a tri-stick, so this is part of my tri-stick video, if you will, for the Choir Boys Cutlery, who issued out the tri-stick challenge. I already did one tri-stick with a knife I made, and I said, you know what? It was a really good indicator of how a knife is going to feel in your hand. You're sitting there and you're doing all those little precise cuts and stuff. I got a really good feel for this knife in my hand, and I'm telling you, it feels really good. This texturing, it was not overly aggressive. It felt like it feels like it could be, but as I was working the knife and doing all my cuts, I didn't have any issues. It felt really nice in the hand. Nice finger choil here, no problem. It's a little bit rounded here, so it didn't really bite into my finger. The spine's nice and rounded, so it didn't eat into my thumb as I was doing this, cuts and stuff. And I'll try to talk about that in the Hyperlapse video. I did a Hyperlapse video of the tri-stick, and I'm going to show you the tri-stick up close after you see the Hyperlapse. So, guys, the CT3 from Case Knives, this thing's pretty cool. And you know, in the next video I do, I'm gonna go over the full specs of the knife, and we're gonna do a little bit more cutting tasks with some rope and some fire hose and stuff like that. Kind of what I typically do, but again, sorry for the head cold. But I wanted to see how this knife was gonna feel in the hand doing that tri-stick. And man, you know what, I would highly suggest doing a tri-stick with any knife you have, and it's gonna, you know, make that the first thing you do with it. And I'm telling you, I think you're gonna find out what you're gonna really like or not like about that knife. And so far what I'm liking is this thing was damn comfortable to use making the tri-stick. And I know I'm doing some cool little ninja moves, but you know what, let's check out the Hyperlapse video, and we'll come back for some real quick final thoughts, and let me know what you think in the comments below. So stand by. All right, so here we go. Starting off the tri-stick, we started off with the, what do they call that? The half spear. So essentially you would make a half spear for making a bow drill, things like that. So it's kind of just rounding off the sharper edges and making it, like I said, like a half dome. I typically do the half dome because anybody can make a sharp point. That's not that hard. Next up, what I'm working on right here is the saddle. Essentially, you're making a saddle-shaped groove in the stick, so that way you could rest, like, say, another stick into it, and then you can lash them together, and they'll hold up. You know, they'll hold together better in place than two round sticks on each other. No problem right there. Next up, I did the 90-degree latch, and so essentially this is what you would make if you were making tent stakes and you had to loop some paracord or rope around it. Doing a 90-degree latch will help keep your rope in place on your stick and help secure whatever it is you're trying to secure down. And there you go, not a problem there. The reduction, essentially you're just taking this round stick and taking a section of it and making it a smaller diameter round stick. You might need to do this for making a bow drill or a pack frame or something like that, but you know, test your knife skills out. It's definitely, you know, because you got to be careful as you're doing this, you don't snap your stick depending on how thick it is. But you know, it's just a good way to test out your knife skills. You know, can you take a round stick, make it a smaller diameter? You know, it's a pretty fun thing to do. And I pulled it off. I did an all right job with that one. The one after this is a little bit trickier, doing the beam. Actually, it's not trickier. I would say it's easier, but it's weird because you're taking a round thing and making it square. But sat there and just kept working at it, making sure, you know, was careful not to break the stick, and pulled it off. And then again, like I said, up next we make the beam. Beam was a little bit easier to do, but again, you're just taking a round stick and making a square. And as you know, we just kept working at it and kept at it. And I was basically kind of cutting little notches into the stick and then scraping, you know, cutting away the pieces. And kind of did that all the way around, and next thing you know, I had a beam. So that was pretty cool. Again, while I was doing this, I had no issues whatsoever, you know, feeling like the grip was hurting my hand or anything like that. The blade was sharp enough to do all the cuts easily, not a problem. Thumb resting on the back of the spine worked really well. It didn't create any hot spots on my thumb. I was actually utilizing my thumb towards the tip of the blade as well on my other hand. I didn't have any issues. And then right here, I was making the V-cut. Came out decent. Could have been better, you know, but hey, that's why we call it a tri-stick, because you're always trying to work on it and get better at it. And then from there, we went to the hook. The hook is definitely a little bit of a challenge for me. I think I'm just still trying to figure out the proper angles for doing the hook. Like I've seen other people's pictures of hooks and they look way better than mine. But I was able to do it, so it wasn't too bad of a thing, you know. But then I kept looking over because my dog was over there chasing a bird. And excuse me. And I was like, what the heck? This bird was like flying low and pestering him, and he was jumping through the bushes, and it made a lot of ruckus, but that's why I kept looking over there. But here I was still, like I said, working on my hook. The hook took me a little longer because I was trying to figure out those, like I said, those angles. But eventually I got it. And, you know, if I had to hook a fire pot or something to it, you know, I think I could do it. No problem. Hyperlapse videos are pretty fun because it allows me to put a longer video into a shorter time frame. My dog's coming over like, hey, what are you doing, Dad? So after this, I was making the hole. Essentially, what you do is you're making two flat spots on each side of the stick, and then you're basically drilling a hole through it. And basically, what you're going to do with this is it's like you're almost making a joist or a joint area. So it would allow you to put two things together. Like you could take another stick, make that end of that stick like small and round to fit into the hole that you just made in this stick. And essentially, I don't know the proper terminology here, but I don't really call it a joist or a joint. But that's kind of one of the reasons for doing this. Plus, again, you got to be careful that you don't snap your stick off, and trying to drill a hole through the middle of a stick that you just made skinnier, it's definitely a little bit of a challenge. Again, that darn bird was over there messing with my dog. So essentially what I did is I thought about trying to hammer the knife through, but then I was like, you know what, I'm probably going to break the stick. So I tried carving it out a little bit, but it was proved to be a little bit difficult. And then I go, why am I making this harder than it has to be? Just drill through it. Essentially, I just stuck the tip in there and just start spinning the blade and drilled my hole, which wasn't really too much of a problem. And once I got it drilled through to where the tip was just barely poking out the other side, I was able to flip the stick around, put the knife in the other way, do the same thing, and essentially made a hole in the stick. Very easy to, I don't want to say it's easy to do. Like, say you're putting pressure and you're spinning that blade around and you're like worried that your stick's going to break. And then my dog came up and he was like, Dad, I need some love. And so I had to give my puppy some love. And then there you go. There was the hole in the stick. And then last but not least, we made the sharp edge. So that's pretty easy to do. You're just kind of cutting off both sides till you make basically a wedge, a little bit of a scraper end. And that's about all there is to that one. So, and I think there's some other things you can do that. And all right, everybody. So there was my hyperlapse, right? So let me give you a quick close look at my tri-stick here. So you see there was the saddle, if you will. Not the saddle, the half spear. Sorry. Here's the saddle. Not too bad. There's my 90-degree. What do they call it? The 90-degree latch. Got my reduction there, which obviously you took it, just kind of reduced it down, made it smaller. There's my beam, so it's took a round stick, made it square here. Here's my V-notch. My V-notch could be a little better, but working on it still. That's why it's a tri-stick. Definitely need to try working on my hook a little bit better. It's there. Could be better, though. And then here's my hole. See that? Boo, right through there. Yeah, I can see you guys. And then there is my scraper. Or, yeah, my sharp edge or scraper. You want to come in and scrape stuff. Guys, I really, really highly suggest if you got a knife or get a new knife, which I think this is probably going to be something I'm going to do with a lot of my new knives, is I'm going to make a tri-stick with them right off the get-go, because it really gives you a good idea of how the knife is going to feel. This thing felt great in the hand, as I was telling you through as we were going through the hyperlapse. No hot spots. This textured G10 didn't rub my hands raw or anything like that. I mean, it just felt really good, and it just gave me a really good indication of how to use this knife, or not how to use it, but how it's going to feel being used depending on what you're doing. And obviously, you did a lot of really different cuts and stuff here. Got to really work it in different angles, and the CT3 from Case Knives feels great in the hand. I think it's going to be a really good knife. But we're gonna hold off on the final judgment until I do my second video, where I do a lot more of the wood processing stuff with it, cutting that rope and doing our little stab test, doing all that kind of cool stuff. But guys, I think this is gonna be a good knife to add to your collection. And again, take that Choir Boys Cutlery Challenge and go make yourself a tri-stick and upload a video of it. Tag us all in it and let us see your tri-stick. So thanks for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate it. Stay tuned for the next part of this review video, if you will. Might be a few days. Like I said, I'm trying to get over this head cold, but digging it. There it is, guys. The CT3, the Case Knives. Stay safe, stay sharp, and we'll see you next time.